Welcome to the Unity of Olympia podcast.
Thank you, Janine. Thank you, Steve. Thank you, Terry. At Unity of Olympia, we nurture lives of freedom and joy. And I don't know about you, but that kind of music makes me feel very joyful. So let's give another round of applause to our musicians. Thank you. Part of my joy is also around laughing and cheesy jokes. So Aaron, I so much appreciate what you did with the microphone this morning. Thank you. Thank you. And I have a few of my own cheesy jokes just cause. So what's brown and sticky? A stick. These made me laugh. Okay, here's a joke for the musicians. What did the drummer name his two daughters? No pressure. And a 1 and a 2. Oh my goodness. All right, last but not least. How many ears does Captain Kirk have? 3. A right ear, a left ear, and a final front ear. All right. I don't know, it feels so good to laugh. And all my jokes have a purpose, so I will come back to that in a minute. But today we're talking about the spiritual keys to overcoming adversity. I hope you were able to get one of these little booklets. If not, I think there might be some more downstairs. I just think there's some fantastic stories in here. Last time, a couple weeks ago, oh, thank you, Denise, I appreciate that. Thank you so much. A couple weeks ago, I shared with you some of my spiritual keys or my spiritual practices for overcoming adversity. One is mindfulness, one is unity prayer, one is prosperity principles, including blessing what I already have and spending time in meditation. And I know Greg introduced me a little bit earlier. For those of you I haven't met yet, I am Audrey Pitchford. I am your licensed Unity teacher. I don't know if I've shared this with you or not, but every time I'm invited to give a talk, I'm always very honored. And I always sort of think of it as like a class. So I like having, kind of like a handout. I like asking you questions. My questions are never yes or no, right or wrong questions. This is not a gotcha. I like to hear what other people think. So here's my first question to you. What are some spiritual keys or spiritual practices that you rely on when you are facing adversity?
Singing mantras.
Singing mantras, I love that, yes. I love singing, and I've actually had some healing of anxiety through singing. Yeah, because it touches the vagus nerve, yeah. Awesome, thank you. Gratitude, yes, we're going to talk about gratitude today. Thank you, Deb. Nature, yes, time in nature, so healing. It smells wonderful most of the time, yeah. And back in the back? Journaling, yes, I like that one too. Yeah, Jeffrey? Sleeping, absolutely. Absolutely, we might laugh, and how does that affect us when we don't rest? We are not machines, people. We need sleep, yes. Napping is one that my friend always talks about. Yes? Stop arguing with reality. Yes, sometimes we call that acceptance or mindfulness, like accepting what is. We don't have to like it, but here it is. Yeah, thank you. Other ideas? Way in the back, yep. Silence, yeah, spending time in the silence. And sometimes silence just like knowing I don't have to respond. Silence can work in a lot of different ways. Yes, here and over there. Yes, taking 3 deep breaths that can shift us physiologically, reset ourselves. Thank you so much. Oh, hiking, yeah. Okay, thank you, Monica. So 2 things, hiking, because being out in nature, but also using our bodies, getting our muscles to move, does something where it circulates our blood around, and also reading, inspirational readings. Did we have something up here? Going for walks, yes. Yes, indeed, I love it. Jean?
You know I have to say yoga.
Oh, yes, you have to say yoga, yes. Thank you, Jean. All right, oh, Carol.
I like the opening prayer that I'm accepting what I feel and who I am, and it helps with self-love.
Yeah, the welcoming prayer, accepting what I'm feeling, accepting who I am, it helps with self-love and self-compassion. Thank you so much, Carol. Oh, these are great ideas. We have so much wisdom in the room. Yes? Dancing. I'm with you on that one. Yes. Again, feeling our bodies, grooving with the music. It's fabulous. Yes. All right. So we could probably spend all morning talking about these great ideas, which I love hearing what people do, what tools and tricks we rely on to overcome adversity. And there's other ideas in this booklet as well. One big takeaway I had from this booklet, and I'll read something that one of the writers shared, that for me, I realized that overcoming adversity isn't always about doing something perfectly. And it's not always necessarily about getting the result I want or making a change happen, whatever it is that might be bothering me. Sometimes for me, overcoming adversity means being the person that I know I've come here to be as I'm walking through that challenge, being my highest and best, regardless of what's happening in the outer. And there's this great quote from Reverend Kathy Beasley, and it's on pages, it looks like pages, I think 4 and 5, where she says, practicing these principles has taught me that growth does not come from inside alone. It comes from the application and realization of truth at work within me. Each time I have chosen to act from what I know, instead of reacting from fear, something has settled within me. Confidence has not come because life became easier, but because I trusted myself in whatever came. What I'm still learning is this: what I face matters less than who I am when facing it. Challenges will come, uncertainty will come, fear may still speak, and none of this gets to define me. I have learned to recognize myself as someone who returns to the truth, lives what is known, and keeps moving forward. I am clear that being an overcomer is the quiet power of our spiritual nature. It equips us to live with resilience, clarity, and courage. It invites us to stop waiting for change and start embodying it. And I just love that passage, because I think the ideas that everyone mentioned when we were talking about what helps us with overcoming adversity, this is us embodying the change. We're not sitting there and waiting for something to get better. We're taking a nap. We're spending time in the silence. We're spending time in nature. We're dancing. We're reading something that supports and uplifts us. We're doing yoga or whatever it is that we do to remember the truth of who we are. And so today I wanted to share 3 more spiritual practices or spiritual keys that I use in overcoming adversity. And specifically, these practices are gratitude, that Deb mentioned, and then 2 that the prayer team recently learned about when we read Dr. Emily Cady's book, Lessons in Truth. And Dr. Emily Cady calls these personality and individuality. And I'll talk more about what those mean. But in my words, they mean harmony and common humanity, or oneness. And so I'll go through all of these in a bit. But first I want to say that I use these spiritual principles in the context of overcoming the challenge that I'm working on right now, which is comparison thinking. All right, so I'm going to talk a little bit about comparison thinking first. Comparison thinking is not necessarily bad or wrong. There is psychological opinion that it's a survival skill, that it's something that helps us figure out, like, what are those folks doing over there? Should I do the same thing? Do I have a higher likelihood of surviving if I do that? And psychology today says that the urge to compare can be instantaneous and outside of our conscious awareness. It's a fundamental human impulse that we might not be able to completely shut off. There are some benefits to comparing. I don't know about you, I have several siblings, and as a kid, I sure learned from what I saw my siblings go through, and the things that got them rewards and the things that did not. There are also some downsides of comparison. So especially if we are comparing our struggles with what we imagine are other people's successes, that can be really corrosive to our self-worth and our self-esteem. Comparisons can also make us dependent on what's happening out there. Like, I never know how I'm doing until I see how everybody else is doing, and am I one up or am I one down? And so it can make my experience really dependent on the external. Comparing is also a short distance from competing, which again is not bad or wrong, but it can also be a short distance to separation thinking. So, I mentioned at Unity of Olympia, we nurture lives of freedom and joy. Part of why I told my cheesy jokes is because I want an experience of joy. And Teddy Roosevelt is credited as saying that the thief of joy is comparisons. So whether you agree with Teddy or not, that's totally up to you. I know for me, I want to be conscious of what I'm thinking, and I don't want to rely on my brain doing its unconscious thing if it's not serving me. So finding ways to step out of comparisons is especially important because I want to have a life of freedom and joy. Even if my first thought is to compare, I know that I can always shift. I can use that thought as a reminder to pull in one of my spiritual keys or spiritual practices. So the first one that I want to talk about is gratitude. Now, sometimes I hear people complain about gratitude as a spiritual bypass, a tool to avoid feeling the tough thing. Personally, I see all emotions as legitimate. And I also believe we are complex beings, and we can hold in our consciousness two things that may appear to be contradictory. So let me give you an example. My oldest friend passed away 2.5 years ago. This past week, on Tuesday, was her birthday. So I was thinking of her, I was missing her, and my grief came up again. And I also felt gratitude. I feel so much gratitude for her life, for our connection, for all the times we laughed and cried. I feel gratitude to know that she's still with me. And I feel like I can hold the grief and the gratitude together. The gratitude does not take away or tell me that the grief is not okay. So I invite us to let go of any thoughts of should around our feelings. To accept that at every moment, gratitude is an option, whatever we may be feeling. Positive psychology defines gratitude as a sense of happiness or thankfulness in response to a fortunate occurrence or gift. But there's another definition as well. Gratitude is an acknowledgement that life is worth living and of our connection to something larger than ourselves. How unity is that? Yeah. I love it. And researchers have identified numerous health benefits and mental health benefits from practicing gratitude, from lowered blood pressure, better relationships, improved self-esteem. It's kind of an amazing practice. It's free. We can do it anywhere. Nobody has to know we're doing it. All right. So when you practice gratitude, if you do, because I'm guessing there's some folks here in the room who do, what do you like to do to practice gratitude? It can be the same thing that brings you joy. Yes?
I have a gratitude game.
A gratitude game. Oh.
I think myself, so
Oh.
I tell myself I'll pick 10 things, and it can be anything. It can be even like, I'm grateful I have electricity, or even
Yes.
anything, but I have to pick 10 things.
Nice. Oh, I love it. A gratitude game. You play with yourself, picking 10 things. And yes, grateful for electricity. And whenever we have a power outage, we're all especially grateful when they have electricity. Yes, exactly. Yeah, Lisa.
I have a practice that I write a page of prayers first, of anything that's on my mind, and anything that's on my heart.
Yeah.
I write a page of gratitude.
Okay.
It helps to hold those two things in the same place.
Okay, awesome. Writing out prayers and then writing out gratitudes. I love it. Thank you, Lisa. So balancing them out. Yes, Jean and then Monica.
I have a little song I sing.
Ooh, very nice.
And this lists all the things you're grateful for.
Okay.
This a little ditty, and that's what I'm walking with.
Okay, okay. Do you want to sing it to us? Not, okay, all right. Well, I believe you. I believe you. Maybe we'll connect offline and I'll hear that. So a gratitude song, yes, all the things I'm grateful for, and pairing that with walking around. Yes, Monica.
I take a look at myself and I tell myself, okay, this is happening because there's something for me to learn. Especially in work when I was still driving this little home and they were on the west. Yeah, it always grounded me, and then I could approach them like, hey, you don't make mistakes, okay? But I will be your home safe, so please, they see it. I could, somehow it changed something in me.
Nice.
The approach them to where it is today.
Okay, okay, thank you, Monica. So grounding, affirming ourselves, reminding ourselves that we're okay, and so is everyone else. Yeah, and the other thing that I heard in there is something that I've heard called radical gratitude, like being grateful no matter what, affirming there is a blessing for me in this, there is good for me in this, even if it's not dressed up that way on the outside, even if I don't know what it is. Yeah, yeah. Letting go of the lie that we need more to be happy. So I saw Greg and then over in the back.
I express it to others.
Okay, telling other people, yes, I really appreciate you did this. Here's the impact that that had. This is how that made a difference to me. Thank you. Way back there.
Oh, it's just music usually.
Yes, music. Awesome, thank you. Yeah, music's a great way to get into that. So Anne and then in the back.
Having my gratitude group, and the three of us are all here today.
Okay, nice. And I don't know that I've heard of a gratitude crew. What is a gratitude crew?
We agreed to just say what we're grateful for amongst the three of us and to have those wonderful memories.
Nice, nice. Okay, so sharing with others what we're grateful for, having a gratitude crew. I love it. And then back there?
I envision what I'm grateful for about each person.
Okay. Yeah, thank you. So envisioning, calling to mind what I'm grateful for about each person. That's a great technique, especially if we're struggling with stuff. Yeah, Sandra.
Well, accepting other people's expression of gratitude.
Oh, yes. Yes. Yes, it can be. So when other people say, hey, thank you for doing this, instead of going, that was, acknowledging it. Yeah, letting other people express gratefulness to us. Oh, I'm sorry.
It's an odd little practice I do that I will at least a couple times a day, wherever I am, I'll just go, I'm so happy to be here.
Okay. All right. Thank you, Steve. No, I appreciate that. So a couple times a day, say, I'm so happy to be here. When my sister and I did the Camino last fall and we were like climbing up hills and sweating and smelling lots of cows, my sister frequently said that. Isn't it awesome that we're here? I'd be like, yes, it is. All right, so a couple other ideas that I really like. Listing my gratitudes right before I fall asleep. And I always run my talks by my spouse, and he said, oh, I do that. And I was like, you do? So that was kind of cool that we have that in common. Sending a thank you note blesses us and the person who receives it. And even savoring a delicious meal is a great way of expressing gratitude. All right, so one spiritual key, spiritual tool in our toolbox, gratitude. Let's talk about the next one that can help with comparing, is personality. So Dr. Emily Cady, in her book Lessons in Truth, talked about personality as the human part of us, sometimes called our ego. And I want to say our ego is not bad or wrong. We need our ego as we're navigating this human life. Dr. Cady says our personality is what's changeable. So maybe it's the external, the physical appearance. Maybe it's how we express in the world, our impact on others. She also says our personality may be agreeable or disagreeable to other people. I won't ask you to share, but I know I have encountered personalities that were not agreeable to me. And I'm guessing I might land that way with some folks. So the idea that I bring to mind with this idea of personality or ego is harmony. While our society or media at times might present an ideal or a right way to be, the reality is that there is a huge amount of diversity in humanity. I believe there always has been and probably always will be. And in music, harmony is when multiple people or multiple instruments play or sing different notes. And the combination of their individual sounds creates harmony. I see the musicians nodding. I'm like, oh, got that right. And harmony has also been described as what makes music challenging and sophisticated. So, focusing on harmony, if I find myself stuck in comparison thinking, this reminds me we are not all meant to be the same. Our variations are a gift, a blessing. I mentioned my spouse a little bit earlier. He and I learned early on in our relationship, we literally do not see the same things. We can be in the same room and we will see totally different things. And I used to find this really frustrating, like, how could you not see the thing? I've gotten smarter, and I've learned this is actually a blessing. Because if he and I always saw the same thing, think of all we would miss. And because he and I see different things, together we can be greater than the sum of our parts. We cover so many more bases. Our life has such greater richness. And this fosters greater appreciation and gratitude for each other. In the same way, I believe if we are struggling with comparisons or someone else's personality or someone else's ego, we can call to mind this idea of harmony and remind ourselves that human differences are what allow artists to create beautiful works of art. Human differences are what allow writers to write inspired words. And also what allow inventors to have breakthroughs and create solutions that benefit all of humanity. Humanity benefits from diversity of thought and experience. And so when I find myself frustrated that someone else is maybe not doing what I think they should, I can go back to that idea of harmony. Their personality, their ego is okay. Yeah. All right. We've talked about gratitude. We've talked about personality. Last spiritual key. Dr. Emily Cady calls this individuality. Now, something that I didn't share earlier is her book, Lessons in Truth, is from 1894. So she uses terminology a little differently than we might. I think sometimes she makes up words, like our co-founder Charles Fillmore did, which is fine. But when she uses that term individuality, She is using it to refer to the divine. And here's where I think she made up a word. She says the divine is individuated in each person. I'm like, is that really a word? I don't know. But what this makes me think of is the idea of common humanity. Common humanity is a practice that comes from mindful self-compassion. And it's the idea of looking at what we have in common with each other. So ironically, I know we were just talking about harmony and differences. And the practice of common humanity reminds us of our oneness, of our common divinity, the things we share as human beings. If I'm really struggling with comparisons, I will start listing what do I have in common with that person. And it could be really basic stuff like we both have skin, we both have hair, we both have a heartbeat, we both blink, we both need to eat, we both need to use the bathroom, whatever it might be. Sometimes my brain's like, Audrey, that's really silly. And it might be. And it helps me remember we have more in common than what separates us. In addition to our common divinity, in addition to our common humanity, I believe we also have common divinity, that we are all expressions of the divine, even if I can't see it, even if I find it hard to believe. So, as I shared earlier, I don't want to be unconscious. And even if my brain unconsciously is making comparisons, looking for ways to keep me safe as I navigate the world, even if a comparison thought is my first thought, I know I'm never stuck with it. I can use that comparison thought as a reminder to shift my thinking, to lean on my spiritual keys, my spiritual principles, gratitude, harmony, common humanity, and affirm what I know is true, that we are all one. I believe we all matter, not just people in this room, every person on the planet. We all contribute to the consciousness of the planet. And so I invite you to join me, continue practicing your spiritual principles, continue learning new principles, try new ones. Maybe it's yoga, maybe it's walking in nature. If you don't like it, try another one. And let's continue to envision and to hold that ideal of the divine in all, and maybe hold it for the planet. Thank you, friends.